The United States government continues to tell us that there is no threat to the dollar and that Russia's isolated, while the media continues to downplay the 2024 BRICS Summit happening right now under Russia's chairmanship. But do not be fooled by this narrative, because if you have seen any of the video footage coming out of Russia, it is clear that this is a leader who is not isolated in a country that is making big moves against the West. Hi everyone, thank you for being here. Today marks the third and final day of the BRICS Bloc 2024 Summit. What started as a handful of 5 countries creating an economic alliance has now doubled in size for membership, with countless countries requesting membership. Today, we have over 30 countries involved in this summit, with leaders from all over the world, laser focused on trying to figure out how they can create a new world order through a new financial system. Yes, this is squarely focused on how these countries can come together and end the dollar's supremacy. This is because for decades, the United States has been weaponizing the dollar against these countries, using it as a way to push US policy. And whether or not you agree with the United States political stance on various issues or how they've used the dollar, one thing has become clear. If these countries do not band together and create a new path forward, then they are going to be left behind. The fascinating part about all of this is that the countries in the BRICS alliance represent half of the world's population and a growing percentage of GDP. They have the majority of landmass and therefore the majority of natural resources. Now, the media will continue to tell us that they will never band together, that it won't work, that there's too many issues and political divides between the countries. But this week's summit is proving otherwise. We've already seen different countries reconciling, including China and India, who had a falling out in 2020, and this week decided to put aside their differences and come to a border agreement deal, something that's being celebrated in India and China and is seen as a huge step forward in the BRICS Bloc alliance. But that's not all. We're also seeing India, I see here from Barron's, Xi Jinping holds talks with Iran's Pezeshkian at BRICS Summit. So right here we have the leaders of China and Iran coming together and holding private discussions. Now, this comes on the heels of Putin and the UAE president also having private discussions. As a quick reminder, a large reason why the US dollar has remained the global reserve currency is because of the Petro-Dollar agreement, which says that all oil will be priced in dollars. Now, should this crack, should oil start to be priced in other currencies or there's a move away from the dollar, this would be huge, because the less demand there is for dollars, the less value there is for dollars, which means that our standard of living, our quality of living in the United States would deteriorate rapidly. Now, there's a reason that, again, our government and the media keeps telling us that this won't happen. They don't want anyone to be scared, and they don't want anyone to go outside of the system. But there is a reason that this week gold prices continue to hit record highs. Gold is telling us something. Yes, there is the war in the Middle East, so we know that there is an increasing geopolitical conflict happening. We also are seeing this BRICS summit happening, and people are concerned about the current financial system. If we stay in the financial system as it is today, our days are numbered. It is clear, based on the amount of debt that we continue to create, that the dollar's value has eroded, right? In the last couple of years, we've lost 25% of our purchasing power. Well, you might have asked yourself at some point, how is it possible that we have so much debt and it's only been in the last couple of years that we lost this purchasing power? Yes, we printed more in a shorter period of time, but there is another reason. When you look at the US dollar, part of the reason why we've been able to create so much of it, so much currency, and not have inflation just be sky high for years and years and years, is because of the fact that everyone globally uses the dollar. It is our #1 export. So because the demand for dollars is so high, it masks the amount of currency we're creating. It essentially means we are able to export our inflation onto the rest of the world, which is another reason why these countries are getting together and saying, this isn't fair. We want a seat at the table. We want to create our own rules, and we don't want to be beholden to the United States in something that benefits the US, but not the rest of the world, which is again why a lot of people are actually rooting for BRICS. Now, here in the United States, you might look at this and think that makes sense, but the concern for the average American is if you have dollar or dollar-denominated assets, you are at risk. You're at risk of losing your savings. You're at risk of losing your purchasing power, your retirement, all of those things. Because once this happens, as BRICS becomes more successful, and we know this week they launched BRICS Pay, a new financial system that completely sidesteps Western technology and allows these countries to facilitate trade in their local currencies. We know that this means there's going to be less utilization of the dollar. And as the dollar continues to lose its value, what eventually happens in countries where there's hyperinflation? Well, that's when we see a currency reset. Often, a lot of people talk about resets back to the value of gold being true money, whereas all this fiat currency is just made up. It's just a piece of paper. Now, who is buying gold in record quantities? BRICS. The BRICS bloc countries. China has been one of the largest buyers of gold. Their central bank has been buying gold in record quantities. Now, maybe they're preparing for a future where there is a BRICS currency that's gold-backed. I know a lot of people have speculated that. There hasn't been much chat of that coming out of this week, although the summit's not over yet, so there could be new developments. But more likely they are preparing, moving away from the dollar and preparing to have true money reserves, because this is what's going to set them up in a position of power. As the dollar fails, they will be ready. And I keep saying to everyone out there who's watching, we need to be taking notes. There's a reason that these central banks who are preparing to move away from the dollar are choosing to stock up on gold. It's because as the financial system crashes, because we know, again, that the days of the current system are numbered, as that system crashes, as the dollar loses its value, the people who are going to hold true wealth, true money, are those who are going to hold silver and gold. Gold is going to be the way that you protect your wealth and set yourself up on the other side. Silver is what you're going to use for your day-to-day purchases. And this is why it's so important to have a strategy in place now, because everyone's focused on the election. Everyone's looking at what's coming next right here on US soil. And not to say it's not important, but there are other things going on in the world that our media doesn't want you to focus on and our government is going to tell you aren't important. But do not be fooled, because big moves are happening and it's only the beginning. I believe that we can expect to see new members in the BRICS bloc coming out soon, as well as new developments on the payment system that are going to tell us a lot more. So I am going to continue to bring you the latest on this, but in the meantime, if you are trying to figure out, okay, this is concerning to me, what do I need to do today to protect myself? That's where I would tell you to make sure you have a strategy in place that involves silver and gold, because again, if it's all in the system, if you're working with your current financial advisor or someone who only knows how to operate within the system, well, then you're going to lose everything. So I highly recommend you talk to one of our expert analysts. They have decades of experience in helping people just like you with these types of topics, with understanding currency life cycles, what's going on outside of the system, and how you can protect yourself. So if you haven't already, talk to one of our analysts. You can either click the link below in the description and set up a time that works for you, or you can call us at the number at the bottom of your screen. Either way, just make sure that you have a plan in place, because I truly believe that as all of this continues to pick up momentum, there are going to be a lot of people out there who knew this was coming, didn't take action, and regretted it. And that's not what I want for you. So that is my wish. And again, I will continue to keep you updated. I know a lot more is going to be coming out. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What other questions do you have? What else would you like to see me talk about as it pertains to BRICS, the dollar, and how you can protect yourself? And in the meantime, thank you again so much for being here. I'm Taylor Kenny with ITM Trading, your trusted source for all things gold, silver, and lifelong wealth protection. Until next time.